If you've ever bitten into a Snickers bar, you know it's not just candy, it's an experience. The soft, chewy nougat, the gooey caramel that somehow stays perfectly in place, the satisfying crunch of fresh roasted peanuts, and that thick, glossy coat of chocolate that makes you wonder, how do they do this so perfectly, millions of times a day? Well, buckle up and join FactoryX, as we're heading straight into the beating heart of a Snickers factory. And trust me, it's louder, faster, and far more mesmerizing than you might expect. We're talking conveyor belts longer than a football field, machines that can wrap over 300 candy bars a minute, and caramel mixers that look like they could double as hot tubs, if you didn't mind bathing in 250 degrees Fahrenheit sugar syrup. But here's the thing. While Snickers might look simple on the outside, its creation is an intricate ballet of food engineering, precision timing, and a little magic. This bar has been perfected over decades, and yet every single one must pass a standard so strict that if a peanut is even slightly out of place, yes, that's a thing, it's rejected. And the scale? Mind-blowing. Mars Incorporated produces over 15 million Snickers bars a day worldwide. That's enough to stretch from New York to Los Angeles and back, every single day. So how do they do it without turning the whole place into a sticky mess? That's exactly what we're about to find out. Nougat, the unsung hero. Most people think Snickers is all about the caramel and peanuts, but the real MVP is the nougat. Without it, you'd have a collapsing tower of candy chaos. Nougat gives Snickers its structure, its chew, and that soft, fluffy texture that makes your teeth sink in before they hit the crunch. In the factory, nougat begins its life as a bubbling mix of sugar, corn syrup, and egg whites. Yes, egg whites, whipped together until it's light and airy. Imagine a giant industrial stand mixer. But instead of making cookies for your family, it's making nougat for the entire planet. We're talking mixers big enough to hold a small car. Once the nougat reaches the perfect consistency, it's pumped out onto a moving conveyor belt in one long, endless sheet. Workers call this the base layer, because everything else, the peanuts, caramel, chocolate, will be stacked on top of it. And here's the crazy part. The nougat has to stay at just the right temperature, around 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's still soft enough to shape, but not so hot that it melts into a blob. The smell at this stage? Sweet, nutty, and slightly toasty, like walking past a bakery that just opened its doors. And the speed? That sheet of nougat can move at over 20 feet per minute because the rest of the factory is waiting. In candy making, time is money, and sugar waits for no one. Caramel and peanuts, the crunch meets the goo. Here's where things start to get deliciously dangerous. The caramel, rich, buttery, and just stretchy enough to cling to your teeth, is made in huge kettles that look like something you'd see in a medieval castle, only instead of boiling oil, they're bubbling with golden sugar. It's cooked to exactly 248 degrees Fahrenheit. Too hot, and it becomes brittle. Too cool, and it turns into a sticky disaster. Then come the peanuts. Snickers is picky about its peanuts. Only medium roast, high-grade nuts make the cut. Before they join the caramel, they're roasted in massive rotating drums at 350 degrees Fahrenheit until they're golden brown and aromatic. Fun fact, roasting peanuts doesn't just make them taste better. It also reduces their moisture, which helps keep the Snickers bar from going stale. Once roasted, these peanuts tumble down chutes and rain evenly over the moving nougat sheet. And yes, there's a machine specifically designed to make sure the peanuts are perfectly distributed. If too many peanuts clump in one spot, the bar won't cut evenly later. And trust me, you do not want to be the person explaining to your boss why a batch of 5,000 bars now looks like peanut boulders. The caramel is then poured in a silky, glistening layer over the peanuts. Watching this happen is pure food porn magic. Think slow-motion waterfalls, but molten sugar. This sticky blanket locks the peanuts into place and adds that famous gooey bite Snickers fans love. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this behind-the-scenes tour of how Snickers are made, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us bring you more deep dives into the secret lives of your favorite foods. And honestly, we have some seriously sweet episodes coming up that you won't want to miss. The chocolate enrobing line. This is the moment of truth. Without chocolate, Snickers would just be a sweet, sticky sandwich. But with it, iconic. Snickers uses milk chocolate that's made in-house from a blend of cocoa beans, sugar, and milk powder. The chocolate is tempered, heated, cooled, and reheated to ensure it has that glossy finish and satisfying snap. In the factory, Tempering machines are constantly running to keep the chocolate at exactly 88 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, because even a 2 degrees Fahrenheit difference can ruin the texture. The peanut caramel nougat slabs are now cooled and cut into bar-sized pieces before hitting the enrober. Imagine a chocolate waterfall flowing endlessly over a conveyor belt. Each bar passes under the curtain of molten chocolate, getting completely coated, while a vibrating belt shakes off any excess, so you don't end up with weird chocolate feet at the bottom. Here's a fun fact. There's actually a stream of chocolate that flows underneath the bars too, making sure every millimeter is covered. So when you bite into a Snickers, you're getting chocolate from all sides. No shortcuts here. The cooling tunnel, where chocolate becomes solid gold. Once the Snickers bars are bathed in their silky coat of chocolate, they're still far too soft to be touched. Unless you want to leave fingerprints and ruin an entire batch, which would make you the least popular person in the building. So the freshly coated bars take a ride into the cooling tunnel. Now, tunnel might sound small, but this thing is massive. Think the length of a school bus, sealed off with insulated walls. Inside, a carefully controlled environment drops the temperature to a cool 55 degrees Fahrenheit with low humidity. This isn't just about making the chocolate firm up. It's about crystallizing the cocoa butter so the bars have that perfect snap when you bite in. The conveyor snakes through the tunnel for several minutes, giving each bar time to cool evenly. And here's a quirky detail. The cooling is done in gradual stages. If you chill chocolate too quickly, you risk sugar bloom or fat bloom. Those weird white streaks you sometimes see on old chocolate. It's harmless, but makes the bar look like it's wearing winter camouflage, which is not the vibe Snickers is going for. While they travel through the tunnel, the smell of warm chocolate fades and is replaced by a faint roasted peanut scent lingering from earlier steps. Some factory workers swear this is their favorite part of the job. Watching thousands of perfectly lined up Snickers slowly emerge from the cold, looking flawless, glossy, and ready to conquer snack cravings worldwide. When the bars exit the cooling tunnel, the chocolate is firm, the caramel is set, and the nougat is holding everything together like a champ. At this point, you could technically eat them, but the Snickers journey is far from over. The wrapping wizards. You'd think wrapping candy bars would be simple, just fold some foil, slap on a label, and done. But in a factory pumping out hundreds of bars per minute, wrapping is an engineering marvel. Each Snickers bar zooms toward the packaging line, perfectly spaced on the conveyor. The wrappers, printed with that famous bold Snickers logo, arrive in massive rolls, each holding thousands of pre-cut sheets. Machines pull the film down in a synchronized rhythm, wrapping around each bar like a snug chocolate blanket. Here's the impressive part. These machines can wrap up to 300 bars per minute, all without tearing the delicate film or misaligning the label. And yes, there's a dedicated camera system watching every single wrapper as it's applied. If even one letter of the Snickers logo is crooked, the system flags it instantly and sends the bar to the reject lane for repackaging. Inside the wrapper, the bar isn't just loose, it's sealed tight to keep out air and moisture. The edges are heat-sealed in milliseconds, locking in freshness. The moment you tear open a Snickers and get that new candy bar smell, that's the magic of perfect sealing. And here's a fun behind-the-scenes tidbit. Those little crimped edges on the sides of your Snickers wrapper, they're not just decorative. They're there to keep the bar from sliding around inside and to prevent tiny tears during shipping. Mars tested dozens of wrapper styles before settling on this one, finding it kept the bar fresh for over 12 months without sacrificing taste or texture. By the time the bars leave this section, they're stacked into neat little armies, ready for boxing. But before they get shipped, Snickers puts them through one final, critical step. Quality control, the candy police. This is where things get serious. Every single Snickers bar must meet exact standards for size, shape, weight, and appearance. If it's too short, too tall, too heavy, too light, or has even the tiniest flaw in its chocolate coating, it's out. Factory inspectors, real humans, not just machines, stand along the line scanning bars with a level of focus that would make a diamond grater jealous. They're trained to spot imperfections like air bubbles in the chocolate, uneven peanut distribution, or caramel leaks. Sometimes, they'll even cut open random bars to check the internal layering. But humans aren't the only inspectors here. High-speed cameras and laser scanners also examine each bar, measuring them down to fractions of a millimeter. If a bar doesn't pass, a puff of air literally blows it off the line into a separate bin. And yes, these reject bars often still taste perfect, but they might be too ugly for store shelves. Some are melted down and recycled into new batches. Others are donated or sent to staff snack rooms. And here's a wild fact. The weight of a Snickers bar is so precise that the allowed tolerance is less than 0.5 grams. That's about the weight of a paperclip. Too heavy, and the company loses money on extra ingredients. Too light, and it's shortchanging the customer. Once the bars clear inspection, they're loaded into cardboard trays, then into larger shipping boxes. The boxes are stamped with date codes so distributors know exactly when each batch was made. From here, they're ready to hit the road, literally. The global Snickers network. At this point, the Snickers bars are packaged, boxed, and ready to travel. But where they go depends on where they were made. Some factories serve only their home country. Others are export hubs, shipping to dozens of countries at once. Snickers is sold in over 80 countries, and to keep them tasting exactly the same everywhere, Mars enforces strict ingredient and recipe consistency. That means the bar you buy in Tokyo should taste identical to the one you get in Texas. Shipping is a race against time and temperature. Snickers can handle normal room temps, but long exposure to heat can make the chocolate bloom or the caramel ooze. So during summer months, shipments often go in temperature-controlled trucks or containers. Some high-volume routes even have direct distribution centers that can move product from factory to store in under 48 hours. And here's something most people don't think about. Those multipacks you see in stores? They're often assembled in separate co-packing facilities where workers bundle single bars into family packs or variety boxes with other Mars candies. From there, Snickers makes its way to grocery store shelves, vending machines, gas stations, airport kiosks, and, if you're lucky, into your hands before you even get home. Sweet legacy and final bite. Snickers was first introduced in 1930, named after the Mars family's favorite horse. Over the decades, it's become not just a candy bar, but a cultural icon, used in commercials, memes, and even as emergency fuel for athletes and hikers. Part of its lasting appeal is that perfect balance. Salty peanuts, sweet caramel, fluffy nougat, rich chocolate. Each bite feels engineered to make your brain scream, more please. And in a way, it is food scientists have spent years fine-tuning the texture and flavor so that each component complements the others. Walking through a Snickers factory, you realize it's more than just candy making. It's a mix of art, science, and logistics. From giant caramel kettles to laser-guided quality checks, every step is designed to deliver the exact same delicious experience, millions of times over. So the next time you tear open that brown wrapper, remember, behind that one little bar is an entire world of roasting, mixing, pouring, cooling, wrapping, inspecting, and shipping. Also, you can take a single bite and forget about everything else for a moment. And let's be honest, if you're watching this while eating a Snickers, you're doing it right.